Hi there. So today I'll be reviewing the Aranjuez Spanish Silver 300 set. This set is rated as medium tension, but I feel like it's on the lower end of medium. These strings are made in New York by Augustine, same folks who make the black line, the imperial line that you're familiar with, and they're originally from luthier Juan Orozco. As it says here on the back, Aranjuez Strings was born from a simple idea. Guitarists deserve strings that reveal their guitar's true voice. In 1968, master luthier Juan Orozco began crafting strings with tonal and tactile qualities to suit his instruments. Today, a range of sets perfected over decades ensure that you will experience the best your guitar has to offer. So the packaging, it's got a nice design on the front. It looks vintage, maybe like a 1960s or 70s illustration, so it does have that kind of Age of Aquarius, hippie movement feel to it, as it was made originally in the 60s. Now the interior packaging, though, for me is going to get a D-, and I'll explain why in a minute. This part's neat. It's biodegradable packaging where the strings are packaged, but then you have these two packets where there's a mix of contrasting strings. You have one that has E, G, and A, and then B, D, and E. Now that's normally not a problem, but certain sets like No Block will put a red marker at the end, and the Dario puts something similar so you don't confuse strings. Labella is probably one of the best. They put little kind of cube beads at the end of each string with the string or the corresponding letter. And then you have sets like Ernie Ball that put each individual string in an individual paper packet, so there's no confusion involved. Well, this way, it does say on the back here, Aranjuez Strings is proud to offer unique 2-envelope packaging that reduces waste while allowing you to store unused strings when not changing all 6 at once. Each envelope contains 3 strings of contrasting diameters to ensure ease of identification. As you restring your guitar, please take care to monitor the placement of each string, noting that the thinnest nylon string is the first E and the thinnest silver is the 4th D. Now, if you're not familiar with how to string up a classical guitar and you're just feeling it, it's going to be quite confusing, especially given the fact that there's so very little contrast in diameter between the A and the D. You have 30 and 34 inches or round diameter. It's not hardly any contrast. In fact, I was wondering when I put them on if I juxtaposed the two. It just didn't really feel right, but I suppose as long as I follow the packet it was okay, but it's kind of questionable. I don't know. I think that if you're not experienced, if you're beginning, don't perhaps buy this set for that reason, because you could make a mistake or have a professional put them on. But it's just not user-friendly in my opinion and could cause some issues. If you're an experienced player, even then it's still frustrating. Let's say you drop something. I mean, you can do it by feel, but it's because the diameter is so similar, it's going to be easy to confuse. Something like the Dario has a very clear contrast between each individual string and is very hard to juxtapose, but these are very close in diameter. So originally, years ago, before these strings were discontinued the first time, the trebles were almost purple in color. They're calibrata nylon is what they were called, and they had a violet hue. And I remember trying them 2 years ago before they were discontinued. I didn't review them at the time because I only bought a treble set on clearance and strings by mail. But now this set is clear. There's no violet tinge at all. That's originally why the packaging had the violet color. It's just plain nylon now. I kind of did like that violet tinge. It was not really noticeable unless you were playing the instrument, but it was almost like an elegant touch. It was one of those touches that only the performer was aware of, and maybe felt more elevated than a plain clear nylon. So, as I said before, the tension is rated as medium, but I feel like, especially in the basses, the tension is a bit looser. Definitely the trebles feel a little tighter than the basses, but overall it's a very comfortable set. Even for doing a bar chord, even way down the neck, it's a very comfortable set. They hold their pitch well. Obviously you need about 3 full days for a nylon set like this to stabilize. But once you do wait past that period, they hold their pitch very nicely, and there will be very limited tuning that you'll have to do. They tied very nicely and evenly at the bridge. No issues there. They tied at the top fine. These do have a contrasting set at the top where one end is thinner than the other, and it has a little loop. So that kind of thin weak end is intended to ease tying up at the headstock. You won't want to tie that end out of the bridge. You'll want to use the strong end at the bridge and use that end to tie at the top. Did it make it a little easier? Yeah, I suppose it did, because sometimes, especially at the headstock, you're kind of fighting with tying it depending on the position of your guitar. And because it was a little more alacritous, I was able to just pull it in quickly. So that was a nice touch. I did like that. Regarding tone, these tend to be a bit brighter than a plain Augustine nylon set. Maybe they're closer to the Imperial line. They're not quite as bright as the Leo Brouwer. They're not as bright as a Carbon. They do have a very nice vibrato, which is easy to pull off on both the bass and the trebles. Overall, the feel is very comfortable in the hands. You can play an hour or more and not experience any fatigue. And the price is really good too. These are about $7.99 right now in 2024 prices. So that puts these at the lower end. But the sound you're getting out of them is going to be more like something you'd experience in a $20 set. It's more similar to the Leo Brouwer in my opinion, and the Savarez Crystal. It's that kind of brighter, more contemporary tone. So for $8 US dollars, that's not a bad value at all for this set, for what you're getting. Okay, let's get on to the sound test. Thank you for joining me. If this video was helpful, please leave a like down below and consider subscribing. You can also help the channel grow by donating a copy down below on Ko-Fi. If there are any other sets that you would like me to review, you can make a donation to Ko-Fi and I'll try to review them. Thanks. Have a nice day.